Okay, we are live, guys. We are live. We are officially live. First of all, okay. To be honest, I set up this like holiday live stream pretty last minute. So thank you guys for bearing with me. And on the other side, I know like a couple of other team members, they aren't able to join because they are either stuck at airport or or their flights are delayed. But we get Dino. Dino, are you ready? Okay, I just saw Dino join. Dino,
1 second, guys. I'm working on it.
working on what? I think you should also. I mean, can you still connect to the official account or whatever? But you can promote it. I was just starting um by introducing most of people here. Dino, do you see any difference?
Oh, yeah, sorry. No, no, I was just getting oriented. Wait, yeah, yeah.
What's the
What?
difference?
I don't know. I'm so bad at this, but I do see a difference. Well, I see one thing that has not changed, which is you're still on injured reserve there. Or actually, you're playing through the injury, but I see the pink cast. Wait, what's different?
This is the worst question you can ever ask a man.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, it's just it's did you get a haircut? You change your hair. Did you change your hair color?
Yes, correct. Now I'm officially a brunette for the first time for 7 years. Do I look smarter now?
Of course. Wait, hold on. What do you mean brunette? You made it lighter.
No, darker.
Okay.
Okay, anyways, just joking. Okay. Hopefully everyone got relaxed. Today, this is the official Sprout like holiday live stream. Um, this is very last minute, and I promise you guys, I didn't give anyone any heads up about what I'm gonna talk about during the live stream. I just asked every single one of the team to prepare like a short introduction about themselves. Why are they excited to like work at to have been working at Sprout? Da da da. And then Dino also got a last minute notification from the Sprout team. So let's get started. I actually prepare a pretty long thing. Okay, let me figure out my agenda and guidelines, right? Okay, the first part is introducing the team. So let me start beginning the introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Maina. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Sprout. Very excited to have everyone here join our live stream. Sprout is the Yield app that helps every non-digital user to get personalized yields based on their risk preference. But as we move along the product and as we build the product, we actually get a a lot more traction on other applications as well as systems using us as their embedded yield system. So I think a more accurate description of what Sprout is we are the risk and yield operating system for every single daily user to earn personalized yield. And okay, without diving too much into the product detail, today the live stream is really about the people here. And I'm not only talking about the Sprout team members here, but also we have an important partner here, Dino from Fluent. Let's start with our internal team members. Vincent, my dear co-founder, technical co-founder, quick intro about yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Vincent, CTO of Sprout. I came from actually Web2 background. Previously, I've working at uh, Microsoft, Amazon, and a few startups. And I joined crypto in 2021, and I found it's very difficult to use for many DeFi product. So I always want to build a product that makes a little bit easy for everyone. So here comes with Sprout. We are building a risk managed stablecoin yield farming platform, and we do the automatic rebalance across different DeFi protocols. I'm happy to working at Sprout because the work that I've done has the real user impact. and it's a product that I really want to use.
Okay, next, let's welcome scientists. Do a quick intro of yourself.
Hello everyone. Um, Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. It's it's almost evening for me, um, so bit of introduction about myself. I am. You can call me scientist or you can call me Shad. My name is Shad, and I manage the socials for Sprout. I help with content creation, growing the Twitter presence and the community, and helping with the different marketing strategies and just overall building the presence and the positioning of the brand. So this year was mostly for me about experimenting because I'm really new to this. I made a tweet earlier earlier this month where I gave like my appreciation to Dino and Mina for giving me a chance because this is my first time doing all of this. I've never worked in a professional setting before, and it's all very new to me. So this year for me was about experimenting with the content, the different marketing strategies, the community growth, and also next year is will be more there will be more experiments. Yeah, definitely. But I believe I have a solid foundation and I know the growth path and where to grow from here. So the reason I'm like very very bullish on Sprouts is because of one thing. It is very very simple to use for the average person. It's just like using a traditional savings app. So that is like very very bullish for me because you can't say that for most DeFi apps or DeFi protocols in crypto. But for Sprouts, it is ridiculously simple to use. And the product, the value is actually very useful because banks don't have like banks are not permissionless, they are not open 24/7. The returns on your money are very, very low. And Sprout like fixes all of that. So that is very, very valuable and very useful for the average person. So that is one of the many reasons I'm bullish on Sprout. So I guess yeah, that's it for me for now.
Thank you, Shad. I didn't expect the moving part to come so soon, but thank you for the introduction, Dino. But right now it's the introduction part. Focus on yourself, guys. I know you guys are bullish on Sprout. We're all, but tell the audience or tell this is about all of us, right? This is not only just about the product. So tell us like your a little bit about your background, what you are interested in, what are you enthusiastic about. I think that is the most fundamental purpose of this live stream is like let everyone to get to know the Sprout team. Okay, next, YY.
Hi everyone, I'm YY. I'm really excited to do my first live streaming ever. Like that's my first time in my life. And I'm currently a second year master's student in NYU and intern Sprout as a full stack intern. So beyond of my engineering work, I also run the NYU Blockchain Lab as president. My background was in mathematics and industrial engineering. And the reason I joined Sprout is because I personally found really hard to navigate different yield protocol on DeFi, and I realized Sprout is actually solving the problems, and so I want to help to build the solutions and to build the best product for everyone. And on my personal side, I'm really a sport enthusiast. Play different sports like scuba dive, jiu-jitsu, and CrossFit. And everyone who's interested, I'm more than happy to chat and to contact as well. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, YY. YY and Yuka actually just joined because I just persuaded them to join Sprout. And then they will be helping a lot on the in-person real life events with Sprout, as well as like engaging more different universities across the US as well as the globe to not only promote Sprout but also promoting a more systematic thinking process to the younger generations. Yuka, do you want to quickly intro yourself?
Yes. Hello, everyone. This is Yuka. I joined the Sprout as an intern recently, and I'll be helping the market research operations and in-person activities just Nina mentioned. And I'm an NYU student, like studying economics, and currently serving as a vice president at NYU Blockchain Labs, like working with YY. Like we're trying to connect the students and industry, like through weekly talks and community events. So as Sprout, I have focused on like researching the market narratives, staying close to what users care about, and I'm especially excited about Sprout's trust first approach, like making risk more transparent and helping people to customize their investment strategies so they can navigate markets with more confidence. So Mina always says like the product is built for her, but honestly, it's also built for me, like for people who don't want to trade and check the price every day and have a good sleep. So I'm really excited to be here and excited to build with you all.
Thank you, Yuka. Thank you for joining. And by the way, this is not the whole Sprout team, okay? As I said earlier, there's people who is stuck at the airport right now, or who is like spending Christmas with their family. So but I guess like whenever you guys join our next Discord live stream internal one, you're gonna see a more comprehensive team. I try to have as many different like team members join as possible so that you get a more comprehensive view from like different lines of the company. But at the end of the day, we are a very small team. With that being said, Dino, are you ready to introduce yourself, our guest, our only guest? And by the way, you are 100% surrounded by NYU students because I think it's only Shad who is not from NYU. The remaining, all of us, Sprouting is from NYU. And this is intentional, guys.
Well, I'm happy to be here, and it's part of the reason this I guess ties into part of the reasons I'm bullish on the Sprout, which I won't talk as much about since you told me not to. But like I feel part of the Sprout.
Three sentences.
I honestly don't feel as much of a guest as part of the Sprout fam, so that's a testament to you guys and one of the many reasons I'm bullish on Sprout. But yeah, I'm Dino, one of the co-founders of Fluent, which is a chain and partner to the Sprout team. And let's see. I mean, I came from Web 2 as well. I think that's more my DNA, frankly, than it is crypto DNA. Mostly in like developer tooling, like cloud platforms, stuff like that. And then what I'm most passionate about is like getting all these cool crypto primitives that we've built into like the hands, not only into the hands of your average person, because I don't really like the mental model of like bringing people on chain. Like it's not that's just not how it works. Like, but what you can do is take these really awesome primitives that we've built and with the right product taste, like people who actually have the right product taste, such as this Sprout team here, which is another reason why I like them so much, to actually weave the primitives into like thoughtfully into experiences that that people are familiar with and apps that people already use and distribution channels that people already use, which I know is a big focus of the Sprout project and team. So yeah, I mean, I guess that kind of hopefully weaves together some of my interests and passions, and I know what you guys are focused on because I do feel like there's a ton of overlap, and you just don't see that much really sound product thinking in crypto, and I think you guys have it. So bullish, also bullish Sprout.
Thank you, Dino. A little bit more background context, right? And I think I also wrote the story about like how I start to chatting with Dino about like partnering with each other. I think it was like a dinner during 2024, the year end of 2024,
Sounds right.
And then at that time, Dino was still raising or just finalizing raising his last round. And then I coincidentally joined a really random dinner at that time. Oh, it's even before that because at that time I was still working on my previous company. So I chatted briefly with Dino, like right outside of the dinner place, because both of us, neither of us want to go to the after party after the dinner. So
Yeah.
then we started chatting like while we are waiting for the Uber. And then at that moment I realized, oh wow, first of all, Dino is a very serious builder. Second, we potentially may have a chance to work with each other. But at that moment, I didn't realize that like we will be working with each other so closely until I think it's probably like 2 months in or 3 months in when I started working on Sprout and Dino reached out to me and tell me more about Fluent's plan, as well as like why they want to focus on fat tap thesis, which if we look back, right, both of us were correct in terms of where the meta is going. I was correct in terms of like 15 or 16 months ago. I know we need to build a DeFi yield product where every single user will not have the hurdle to farm to actually harvest the upside of the DeFi while in the same time they are not exposed to too much risk. And we can clearly see after October 10th, right, how users are harmed because they were not exposed to the right amount of risk. And users till today are still very harmed. That's why you see so many complaints on the timeline. I even saw an article which like Shah shared with me says, Maina, you definitely need to comment on this article. And I think the name is called like the mediocrity of like finance or whatever. And the whole article is talking about, oh, the reason why so many builders are building better casinos, as well as the reasons why the smart people on crypto Twitter, they understand some sort of the risk, but why are they still willing to participate in those casinos is because they don't feel like there's hope if they approach or they take another approach. But what I really, really want to say is that Sprout is the third path, if you really think about it. And I'm not saying this out of like thin air. It's more like for the I think what is true is like probably from early 2018 to last year, middle of last year, right? DeFi feels a bit easy. DeFi, and then people were able to figure out like easy opportunities to tap into DeFi, to farm, to earn on their own. But as more institutional players or more complicated counterparties enter the crypto ecosystem, like it becomes harder and harder. And as more scammers enter the game, they find better ways. So, but that doesn't mean the opportunity doesn't exist. Actually, I think it means absolutely the opposite. Meaning like we have more counterparties. Yes, we have more complicated like participants in the market. But because the mass adoption is actually coming and the volatility of the market is actually coming, the volume is actually coming, we have more than ever opportunity to tap into. But you have to be smarter. You don't only need the agency, you don't only need the intelligence, you actually need a system to capture those upside while constrain your risk. And I know Dino, you have a lot to say. You want to add on something? I see you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's the tech and product part, but there's also just the trust part, and I think that, like, one thing that you guys do really, really well is, um, it is build trust and build trust and credibility and reputation, and I think that that's, like, a massive, massive advantage because, like, I don't even think that, most people have not even gotten close enough to crypto stuff to get burned. Yeah, getting burned is definitely a problem within like people who are already operating within the crypto environment, and like you guys are helping that as well,
Mm.
definitely. But I think that like one superpower that you guys have is the ability to build trust because you guys are genuine like builders and like you know how to like actually build rapport with people and stuff like that. And I think that that is not only like a good interpersonal skill, but I think it actually shows up in the product that you're building. So it's just all one thing. It's all brand. It's just like all how you build this brand and like product within, a brand around the product and your team and everything. And I think that's like so crucial to even getting people to give a shit and trust these like systems in this crazy ass world.
Thank you, Dino. Any alpha?
Me, you no, this is Sprout stream. It needs to be Sprout Alpha. You got the alpha.
Okay. Because I thought you're gonna lead into some important topics you want to talk about. We could
No,
give
no,
you
no,
like
no,
a
no.
2 minute slot.
No. I'm not gonna. This isn't the shill. This isn't the shill time. This is Sprout time.
Thank you. But I think any kind of I even don't want to call like whatever we're saying is show is basically like essentially what we say on our live stream on our Twitter is truly what we believe.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
can mention it earlier, right? I always say this product is built for myself, which is absolutely true. The origination of Sprout, as I said again, is I realized I really need a product. I need a system to help me to price the risk and rewards of different DeFi opportunities. And I really need an automated or a very smart system where like I don't have to stay up late at night or I don't have to 24/7 stay on Twitter, read technical
Yeah.
papers. Instead, like I have this system which gonna help me to go through the upside and downside of the market. While I can sleep, I can enjoy my life. I can get to build the product I like. I get to spend the time with the network I want to build the trust with, right? That's the first thing. And then because of blockchain, because of technology, because of internet, it's very easy to scale those systems. And I would say, like, finally, for good hearted builders or builders with integrity, we have a chance to come back. Because another very popular saying I see on the timeline is people saying, oh, the history is always written by the winners, by those like people who know how to leverage their mechanisms, who are basically didn't have integrity. I think like okay, this kind of statement is maybe like 70% true, but you should also remember like to combat or to spread your system to help people to actually create value to the person. It's never only relying on your good heart. It's gonna be dependent on the system you are building. It's gonna be dependent on the network you have, right? The people network. And it's gonna be dependent on the capital, the resources that you are putting into the system. I'm not asking everyone to be naively trusting me because that's like stupid, right? Why are you trusting this tiny little Asian lady? But what I'm saying is like I'm presenting you a system where you can actually put your investigation and bear with us, right? To spend more time on understanding how we are building the product, no matter the team structure, the architecture of the solution, as well as the core ethos, so that you can make a more comprehensive judgment on is this a system? Is this a good enough DeFi yield system that you want to utilize over the long term? And I'm not planning to gain your trust through day one because for anyone who is smart and responsible for their own money, you need to be cautious. You need to do due diligence before you do anything else. You need to do the testing, right? What I'm asking is open your eyes and use your high agency brain to think about like what kind of tools do you really want to leverage and utilize over the next several years so that you can accomplish your goal in the best way. What that means is not only you need to spend time to understand the different systems, how they work with each other, but also like if you already have a tool that's highly efficient and that's already built by the industry expert who may potentially have a lot of edge over you to have access to, then consider that. That's all I'm asking. But I know like trust building, network building, capital accumulation gonna take a lot of time. And I think very much at the core heart of Sprout within all the core team members, as well as with Fluent. I know like we are here in the long-term battle. And also thank you guys for all joining and like commenting on the YouTube live stream, right? I see people comment all different sort of things. Thank you for joining anyways. I my cat is also with me on the live stream. So okay, with that being said, let's get to the next part. I want to talk a little bit about the product experience we want the user to have. And Vincent, are you still here?
Yes, I'm here, but my background might be a little bit noisy, so I turn off my camera.
Yeah. No. Okay. This question is more related to, I guess, like you and me, because it's mostly you and me, and also our product designer, UI designer, are deciding the directions of the product. I would say, like, just to give everyone an overview, right? I'm more on the high level. So usually I will look at micro data. I will also talk to all the industry experts. And then I will also do a lot of deep thinking at home. So then I will say, okay, here's the meta for 2026. Where should we go? Right. And I still have one pending article to be published by the year end, but I can tell you guys like what will be the meta for Sprout 2026. Around a month ago, 2 months ago, I see there are projects. It's called like North One, who is doing a lot of AI trading bots, and then I see they're also doing a lot of live stream for different AI trading bots to compete with each other. And because I do have a very solid background in data science, I worked on Wall Street across different financial institutions for uh, 8, 9+ years before I joined crypto. So I know actually that is the moment I need to pay a lot of attention to. I dig into more of the research, and I realized that for high frequency trading opportunities, I think as a small company, Sprout, we will never be able to compete with the high frequency trading firms because they not only have the leverage or the like deep learning or LLM tools, and then deep partnerships with all those like big AI companies. So they're already doing their AI trading with the advantage of their physical infrastructure. But one thing I think we can have an edge is called medium term frequency trading. And the reason why I think we can have an edge is, first of all, if you trade long tail assets, you will never have an edge because those long tail assets are largely held by a small amount of market participants, and you never know what they're gonna do. So you don't want to play on a playground that's naturally not fair to you. And then for majors, if you only focus on the medium term frequency, then you can still have an edge. Your AI prompting, as well as the data ingestion, as well as how you generate the AI decisions. I cannot go into too much detail because that will pretty much give out our edge. But basically, I figure out a couple of different areas of like where we can improve the AI trading system. And I basically like I just messaged Vincent. I was like, Vincent, this is the direction we're gonna go on 2026. And I believe we can create an edge. And then here are all the different approach and packages. Here are the things we can improve. Can you try it out? And I think initially, Vincent, you can tell everyone the whole story, right? Initially, you try it out and you say this system is not stable. But after you try all the package, I think some magic things start to happen, right? That's the first story. I want like Vincent to give you guys a little bit more details. Second story is the second direction in terms of the product, like where we will be going is I know CT users are very depressed by the end of this year because like the cryptocurrency pricing is going down, right? Even Bitcoin or Ethereum are not doing that well. But that's a lot because of the macro environment. Like the US is doing some QE and then Japan is doing some QT. I'm not going to dive into that. I already talk a lot about that on my Twitter. All I'm saying is like I'm not God, so I cannot tell you whether the crypto market gonna be up or down next year. But what I'm very sure, based on what I see macroly, is that a lot of attention are on the US equity side, and a lot of attention and a lot of big market participants are betting on their chips, on bringing real world assets, on bringing stocks and bonds to on-chain value. And there are many reasons behind that. But the one of the core important reasons is traditional finance, traditional money, people who have been having money for a really long time. They own real estate, they own a lot of assets, they own equities. they want to make their not very liquid assets or not assets that does not have margin or leverage originally, and when they move it on chain, they will be able to reutilize again to increase the capital utilization with a very low risk. That's why so many traditional finance people are moving all those assets on chain. And what that means is when all the people have all those strong incentives to move all those assets on chain and to trade all those assets on chain, the trading volume of the US equity market, especially for the US tech stocks, will be increasing significantly. You guys also know like the geopolitics tension across the globe are increasing. And there's a very, very obvious split between the East and the West. So I would say the economic war will be intensified even further going forward on 2026. And this kind of war or this kind of split has been determined probably like 10 years ago. When I say determined, it's not saying, oh, they decided we're gonna do this. It's more like how the system works, how the structure works, has already naturally lead the path to that. Okay, without further diving into the micro, just going to the conclusion is the trading volume for the tokenized equity will going hyperbolic in 2026. And you guys should also think about there will be a lot of those giant technology companies going IPO next year. And where do you think their price discovery as well as like a lot of volume going to be happening? It's going to be happening on chain. The capital will always flow to the channels where it has the least friction. And that's the charm of blockchain technology. Note that I'm saying this is the charm of the blockchain technology. I'm not saying any specific venues because I think all the trading pits or the trading venues are still competing with each other for the revenue, for the market shares. But as a system, as a yield system for Sprout, our goal, our main objective is never to predict, okay, which trading venue gonna be the main market dominant, which chain gonna be the main market dominant. Sorry, Dino, but this is truly what I believe, right? Our goal is never to predict that. Our goal is to ride the wave and to bet on the most convicted bets while we still keep our upside but constrain our risk. That's why since day one we are cross chain. That's why we are betting on the meta of the volume of the tokenized equity, not anything else. And that's why we're betting on the volatility, not the directions of the tokenized equities to capture the next wave of Sprout and to find where our yields are. And we are building very exclusive strategies on top of tokenized equities, on tokenized stocks. And it's almost ready. Okay. So those are the two main product directions. I would say like in terms of yield, where we will be going in terms of Sprout. And during later part of this live stream, I will also talk about most importantly, where Sprout gonna be distributed, right? But without saying more about the distribution channel right now, Vincent, do you want to talk a little bit about like how we decide the product directions and how your progress with all those two exclusive strategies so far? Because I know a lot of people are so excited about those two strategies, and I always say, hold on, let's wait, right? We will be giving updates soon, but please share like what you're comfortable with.
Yeah, so there are two directions, right? One is for the AI trading, and the other is tokenized equity strategy. I will say for the first one, like we have been doing a lot of like a back testing and also trying with a different approach. But I'm not sure like if I want to go into too much detail about this, but basically me and Maina was like discussing about a lot of like a different models and approaches in terms of the prompts and also how do we use the model and inside a prompt, how do we divide it into like different pieces, stuff like that, and how do we improve our system? Initially, like the result was not like really stable. Like it has like a lot of like up and down. But after like 1 month of like test, I think right now the performance is a little bit better and stable. but we are still trying to be a little bit cautious. So we're trying to improve the current system a little bit more. So I would say right now progress is about like 60 or 70%. We should do a little bit more testing and try to reduce the cost for the AI credit as well for the trading. That's basically the progress for the AI trading. And the other one is the tokenized equity. Like we've been testing this for about a month. Performance was actually quite great. And we're currently trying to finalize a few like UI pages and make a test like internally, and then we'll talk about how do we go this for public user.
Vincent, give some
Uh,
data. Share some data. When you say it's performing really well, share some data about the AI trading as well as the tokenized equity strategy.
AI trading current ROI is about like 3% after running like 10 days fully, but it's not like very long enough data, so we should test it more. For the tokenized equity, I don't have like very accurate data because it's purely a number. I don't have like the exact number. I can give that like probably later for the next live stream.
Yeah. I think Vincent is just being a little bit cautious, right? Since he's very technical and he want to be responsible for everything he said. I'm not saying I'm not responsible, but I can share some initial results, right? When I was testing the tokenized equity, at that time, because the sizing is smaller and also like it was a good market, I guess I was seeing around 0.5% to 1% every single day. And then for AI trading, the first time we ever tried it, like we see really, really significant results after we run for 7 days. I think we see like a single day 2% or 3% jump. But as I said, the initial approach, which was a month ago, was not stable enough. And later we figured out like another systematic approach to improve the stability of the AI trading bot. So now I think every day is yielding like 0.2 or 0.3% of P&L stably, because every day is making, I guess, around like less than 100, but double digits number of transactions. So I think that will give you guys a better understanding of like the stability of the AI trading bot. But rest assured that like we will also publish our back testing results in a very comprehensive view, in a more data driven view. And then another thing I want to add, right? Those are the exclusive yield we will be finding. But one thing, this will also lead to our next topic, is about the distribution of Sprout. And I will tap into a little bit on the vision because because that's all I think about every day, right? If you really think about the next phase of the crypto opportunities, I think 15 months ago I made the right bet. Okay, mobile application or mobile experience will be the retail users preferred method. And then we have seen that like so many different applications or DeFi OG products like Aave, Uniswap, they build their mobile front end too. And then there are a lot of friends who were like congratulating me or telling me, Maina, oh, you how did you make that prediction? But I think that's already a bet I made 15 months ago. That just means, okay, I'm not saying the meta is gone, but I'm saying being only the mobile application is not enough. Because if you really look at the financial institutions or the banks, right? JP Morgan just launched their money MONY fund, their on-chain fund, to their wealth management clients, where users they can basically access to the tokenized T-bill rates without worry about the DeFi risk within their bank. So why would all those like people come to your app when they can just like almost have the insurance to access to a similar rate if you are just only offering like low risk DeFi? I know low risk DeFi has been a very, very widely spread concept. So many big KOLs are talking about. I think there are apps who can build the low risk DeFi, but they wouldn't be the front end. They wouldn't be the user access or the user distribution. They will just be on the back end, serving as one of the yield sources. And I think definitely the meta is on the personalization. What that means is like for all the high agency or for the people who actually want to be responsible for their financial decisions, they actually wanted to better assess how much their risk preference is in terms of their financial decisions. They will use a risk system like Sprout. Again, I'm saying like Sprout. Why? I think the market is very big and we will not be the only winner. We plan to be one of the biggest winners, but the market is so segregated and it's also dependent on many factors. The one of the most important factor is called distribution. How and where can you distribute your product? And this is the part where I haven't talked a lot about yet, but I've been put deep thinking. I think AI has improved our life, right? AI systems has significantly improved our efficiency. But one thing we haven't unlocked is called constraint, or it's called what AI are allowed to do. The reason why we cannot automate or we cannot 100x our productivity yet for most of the users is because they don't have a system where they can safely delegate things to AI. And this is where a lot of companies are building their products around, right? They're building systems that are going to filter out AI's actions. They're building codes. They're building automated, like executed scripts where they will limit what the AI can do. And then maybe they will also add one more last check as like human being. But once we unlock that specific thing, or once the system for filtering or delegating what AIs can do is unlocked for the majority of the institutions or for the daily users, then we're gonna see the society gonna operate on a complete different manner. And what that means for our financial decisions, that doesn't mean you can delegate your judgment to the system. Again, I think it's even more important for you to maintain your own individual judgment on what tools you want to be using, what information source you want to trust, and how can you continuously assess objectively whether that unit, whether that person, whether that institution, whether that tool can be trusted over time. Because everything is in a changing mode. And if we blindly trust anything, anyone, any institutions, and at any given time point, you are fucked. I'm sorry. I have to say this in a straight face, but it's true. And it's very important for all the people, for the intelligent, no matter intelligent or not intelligent people, to realize that in this uncertain, changing world, the most important thing for us to do is acknowledge the uncertainty will exist forever. The variants are gonna exist forever, and it's the time, if not too late, for us to face the reality and utilize the system and union all the resources that we can do to protect our financial interests as well as to grow, compound, and essentially we can live the life we want with freedom, with respect, and within the desired format without constraining too much of our own free will. This sounds too scary, but fast forwarding, okay. Distribution. It will be highly limited by geographic for sure. It will be highly limited by resources. It will be highly limited by trust because human beings, societies are still a noisy system full of decisions made by a human being. That means just emotional, irrational. And how do we do that? It's still, I think it will be dependent on each individual market and distribution channel. What Sprout is doing, or what I have been focusing on, as well as like bring together with the team, is first, we want to make sure that the product is highly composable and also compliant with across different regions, so that whenever different counterparties across the globe they want to integrate as their yield system, they have the necessary tools and the composability to quickly integrate us and utilize us without too much friction faced from the local counterparties. Secondly, how do we build trust with the local counterparties? Or how do we get distributed through the different application layers, through the different systems? That will come from different ends, right? One most important is like how we as a team, how we as a product build the trust and showcase to the people so that they know. But I wouldn't be say, oh, this is purely because like our product is the best. Relationship building, trust building is probably the most important factor in this era. And I will dedicate full of my time, like at least 80% of my time on doing this. And that's why I start to write more about the architecture of the trust. This is also my personal enthusiasm arising from like my personal background as well as my family background. I think this is one of the most fascinating thing to do. And I hope, and I am aiming, and I'm always doing this day by day with my own approach with integrity because I don't want to sacrifice my free will. So, with that being said, for the distribution side, please do look forward to a lot of big announcement coming 2026. I was planning to announce one of the distribution channels, but they're not ready. So we will shift that to Q1 2026. But what you guys will be hearing from Sprout will be Sprout has teamed up with some local teams, getting integrated by some local applications, as well as maybe like using some local compliance structure to distribute our product out. And this will only come from our very dedicated regional approach, focusing on the regions that we already have ties and edging, and then slowly we will capture more and more market share and mind share across the different regions. So that's what I can share so far. Hopefully, like you guys can get a better understanding of like where we plan to distribute the Sprout. Sprout is not going to compete with all those different DeFi protocols to just acquire those people who are deeply in the casinos. I want to make sure that they are aware of Sprout. But my mass adoption will be coming from users who doesn't understand crypto fully, but they are having a lot of interest in crypto market, and they slowly start to realize crypto is where they can tap into. And we want to be 100% ready in both the product direction, the product readiness, as well as the distribution channels as the opportunity is approaching us, knocking on the door. Okay. Dino, you have something to add? You're just like smiling.
No, I think you said it all, honestly. I mean, you know that
Mm.
you know I agree on many of the things like basically everything you just mentioned, like the and what it takes to actually appeal to like a new group of users who are undoubtedly like coming, and like you said, they're not interested in crypto, but they are interested in like markets and what these like new types of markets can provide them. Like that does actually resonate, and so it's really just a matter of like how you meet them where they are. And I think that you guys are taking all the right steps. And obviously, I myself am curious of about some of the alpha that you are alluding to, and of course, I'm sure as many people are wondering, kind of like when they'll be able to hear more about this. But I'm not sure if you're able to share that yet. I do happen to know. I know we were actually together in person in New York City a few weeks back, and I know there's a lot cooking. So it's very exciting.
Yes, I can share briefly. As I said, like relationship building or compliance, right? I think I've hinted or have talked about this so many times, right? I know a lot of people still want to bet on the gray area between traditional finance and crypto, and I 100% agree with that mentality. I think it will be stupid for me to say, oh, we gotta be 100% compliant, but also, please don't. Okay, I didn't mean that. Legal compliance officer. What I really meant is like when you have a set rules of regulations, or when the governments are moving towards a more clear direction of like how they want to regulate that specific areas, there are many ways you can work with those regulations. And it's at the end of the day to each founders, each entrepreneur's freedom and the capability to think about how they structure their company, as well as how they structure their partnerships with different counterparties to achieve those goals. And to Sprout, my goal is very simple. I want to deliver my product to daily users across different regions to fit into their existing lifestyle, not to creating a new kind of lifestyle. Say, oh, you need to use this new tool to earn money, right? That's not our purpose. Our purpose is like we want to safely, compliantly deliver our product, no matter like whether the user are aware they are using Sprout on the back end or they are using Sprout directly. And to achieve that, that just means like we need to be working with the local crypto regulators. We need to work with maybe like licensed partners who have the license. But what kind of license or how you structure a company, whether you need to have an entity at the local region, it's all discretionary or it's all different on different regions. And it's case by case. And we are not like a super team where we have hundreds of people who gonna work on this. All I want to say is like we already have a couple, one or two very strategic regions that like we have been paving the path forward for Sprout, and we will start our pilot program Q1 2026 to push out those fit into retail life like lifestyle apps so that users can start to enjoy the benefits of Sprout, which is earning the upside they deserve based on their risk preference. And of course, all those like risk initially will be kind of determined by the B2B counterparties, but over the long run, we will plant the sauce, or we will promote the sauce of okay, you can actually manage and you have the right tools to earn the right amount of money, right amount of upside with the right amount of risk using the Sprout risk operating system. And then another thing, as I mentioned again and again, the structure and the how do we become compliant, right? That is something I have been thinking, but I know I also cannot be accomplished by myself. So recently, I also onboarded a very, very strong co-founder, I would say, because I know that person for a really long time to help me with all the institution adoptions, as well as the operation side or how we become compliant across different regions. And I will say, like, I'm super bullish on the US side of institutional adoption. It would be stupid for Sprout to not tap into this part of the market. And you 100% gonna agree on this. So with that being said, I think as the local governments like regulations become more and more clear, I think people need to pay attention to like how each of those products as well as companies are approaching their go-to market, are approaching those like B2B relationships and how they handle their product precision. When I say product precision, it's mainly about what product lines you are offering to the users. What is your main responsibility? What is your partner's responsibility in terms of the product lines, right? Because you, as one single company, you will not be able to eat the whole product line or eat the whole vertical market. That's not what we want to do. What we want to do is build such a strong network. It's almost like a neural network where, like globally, we maintain this neutral stance and then push out the risk system to different retail users. Okay. I know that still sounds very vague, but that's the two core ethos of how we distribute our system out. And every single approach, every single action we're gonna take for Sprout is based on those two guidelines. And we definitely want to win. We very much want to win. But I think the only opportunity, the only approach to win is like win over the long term. Winning one time doesn't mean anything. But winning again and again and compound the small winnings is the most important thing and the core ethos as Sprout. And this will be reflected at every single product line, no matter from the yield farming perspective, but also from structuring the company, building distribution channels, expanding cautiously across different regions. Okay. Hopefully that answered your everyone's question, right? I think like we are almost like 1 hour in, but I still want to hear a little bit more about, like, I guess, like, team members' thoughts on different things. So let's start with Shad. Shad, yesterday you shared me with that article. I assume you are accusing me of not understanding daily users' thoughts on how they view the market. I know that's what that means. So I read through everything. So Shad, I mean, the question part was a joke, but I guess, like, I know you spend a lot of time on Twitter, and I truly appreciate, like, how you dive deeply, you engage with different accounts, and you also fully understand Sprout's mission. Like, based on your view, how do you think, what is the best way for us to promote Sprout? If, like, people are already willing to take risk, right? How do we tell them? Because you cannot just shake everyone's shoulder and say, come on, look at Sprout, right? You don't get the opportunity to do that. So how do we do it?
Okay. Well, to City, it's basically like really straightforward for City because everyone is just trying to uh, make money and gamble and all that. So I feel like a product is very easy to market in City as long as you can communicate clearly that, yeah, this makes your money go up and this makes you rich and this will make you retire and all that. So in City, marketing a product is actually like really easy. Just sell them hope. Like based on the article I sent yesterday, you can say it's because City is majorly the prisoners. That's a term that was used in the article. So it terms them as prisoners because they believe, oh, they can't grow their wealth the traditional way. So they're looking for uh, another alternative that gives about 5% chance of success. So yeah, that's that. But Sprout is not like that. It's not a casino. It's not a an app that doubles your money. It's almost like the traditional route to wealth building. So marketing that and communicating that to crypto Twitter is going to be hard because I feel like not a lot of people will pay attention to that. So we still need to work on how we're going to communicate with City regarding Sprout and how was the best way to position it. And I'm thinking of two routes. And first is we can say, oh, this app gives you more capital to work with, to gamble with, essentially. But that's that's a that's like I feel like that's the wrong way because morally, personally to me, I feel like that's the wrong way to put it. But I feel like that will work best for City. But the other route is to just keep communicating it as it is, like just to a place to grow your money, a safe, a system that adapts to you, that understands you, that's tailored to you, that understands your comfort with risk and builds you a system that doesn't fail when the market is red or when the market is choppy or just when there's a black swan event. So those are the
Mm,
two routes. We can either do that or just keep doing it as we are. But
mm, mm,
there might be other ways, and that the other ways are the ways I'm thinking about. So going into the new year, I'll definitely double down on creative educational content, probably new ways to communicate to City and try to see if that works. Basically, do a lot of experiments with content and try to see if something sticks. So I'll I'll also leverage AI because we made an AI generated video the other day and it was interesting and we had a lot of engagement and a lot of people left comment and say, "Oh wow, it's a great script and it's interesting and everything." So for me, on a personal level, I would just want to gain more communication skills, how to get better at explaining the product to different people, because explaining products differently, it depends on who is listening. A beginner to crypto, you can't explain it the same as to someone who's been in crypto for probably 10 years. And you can't explain it the same to someone who is coming from traditional finance. So that's another thing I'm planning to work on, because I see a lot of people do not really understand the product, and I just need to work on that in the new year. So I guess that answers your question. I'm not really sure, because this game I'm not really prepared. So
I know. It's okay. Kudos to that. And then we can treat this more as like a team conversation, to be honest. And Dino is 100% of our team members. So it's okay. And I know like scientists have listed out like two specific approach as well as like his thoughts. This may sound a little bit too technical or too specific to users, but I think to just give a general like direction, right? We definitely utilize a lot of AI tooling at Sprout, like 2025, and we intentionally to do that. That's why like we have used AI to create many different funny videos where we post it on our Twitter account. Another hand is like we also start to explore AI, using AI with Notion, because essentially that's your knowledge base. And I'm always very curious to explore how the intelligence intersection and map of different persons experience gonna contribute to the success of marketing or to the success of like company visions. And the third thing is network. And I think Dino, this is also a question that I wanted to circle back with you or talk with you for a really long time. I think A16Z several maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago they published an article specifically talking about how they are building the narrative network, right? How they are building this machine where they will be counting out different narrative trends on social media. And I think like we talk about this, we talk about like Fluent also serving as a very strong social media narrative shaping machine for different application builders in at the very beginning when we start to discuss. And then I think like over the last 12 months, as you guys also made a lot of progress on that. And we also did our very specific social experiments, right? CT experiment or other social media experiments on promoting the narratives. I'm wondering like how we should forward seeing this.
So, if you could maybe reframe the question for a second. So, like, you're saying how to best navigate different narratives or tie Sprout in with, like, are you specifically speaking to narratives, or if you could reword that?
Well, oh yeah, sorry. So basically, I'm saying like narrative. We have to admit is very important, right? How do we shift this narrative to the users? How should we work on this together? And then what you have learned so far with all those like social experiments that you have done.
Yeah. Yeah, narrative's a funny like word. I definitely think it's very hard. Like, you could either try to build your own narrative or you can try to kind of ride an existing narrative. And I feel like it's definitely more art than science. I mean, on one extreme, it's very hard to build your own narrative. It takes a long time, which isn't a bad thing. It's just you need to account for the time it actually takes to kind of like educate people on kind of a new thing. And then on the other side of the spectrum, there's it might be easier to leverage an existing narrative, but you kind of run the risk of going too far in that direction and either kind of losing touch with kind of the core DNA of your project and your thing, or just getting lost in the noise if too many people are building on top of that narrative. So it is a delicate dance, and so what we've found certainly that it's hard to build a narrative, especially on CT, especially because I do think, as scientists are starting to talk about before, like it's so skewed towards like price action that's like driving a lot of these narratives. And I think that actually makes it a lot harder for somebody who's trying to bootstrap a new. I actually don't even like the word narrative, but I'm just going to use it here because it's that
Mm.
makes it sound like it's all talk. Really, what you're trying to do is like better like educate the market on kind of like a new thing and compress it into like a really digestible form. And like yeah, I guess that kind of like gets conversation going, and then there kind of forms a narrative around it. But obviously the narrative, just the story itself, isn't necessarily like the goal. So I don't know, it's what we've learned is that it's hard. We've kind of tried both. We definitely have found that um CT is, I think, a bit of a different beast when it comes to narratives. I definitely think that like CT thinks about things, like I said, more around like price action as like a catalyst, and often that can be frustrating, but also an opportunity. Like I know we've historically gotten pretty frustrated with that, frankly, because we're just like, God damn, you could do all this type of education and you can reframe it this way or that way, and then all of a sudden something comes along that drives a price action and that's attached to a word, and all of a sudden that's like the new narrative. You're like, okay, it can be really frustrating. So I guess there's no easy answer. I think you have to figure out, where is their energy building um that actually is in line with like what you're already doing. And like I guess you can use that as a way to bootstrap momentum, let's call it. And then you can kind of earn the right to be more and more differentiated with your like narrative or position or story you want to tell or education you want to do.
Mm.
Because there's a lot of activation energy that's like needed. But like once you get some of that energy, like once you get some movement, then you can just like carve out more and more of like your own path. So it is a bit of a dance. Unfortunately, I don't have like a super clear cut formula, but that's at least how we start to think about it. And like you do, even if you're trying to bootstrap it with an existing like narrative, you want to be careful because it is a slippery slope to kind of lose yourself in it, and you don't want to do that, of course. I mean, I think you guys have a good DNA at the core of the project where you're way less likely to kind of to lose yourself than a lot of other people might be, and you certainly
Mm.
don't intend to get too far in any of those directions. Like you guys aren't just like obviously on total that side of the spectrum. They're just pure narrative chasers. Um, but yeah, I mean, I definitely think you guys have some opportunities like in front of you because people are starting to come into this space and think more about yield opportunities. It's definitely more natural, and so you can kind of ride some of that. One good book I read like many years ago was called the Creative Curve, which is, I forget who the author was, um, but it kind of positions this sweet spot in between something that's too like familiarity on one axis and like novelty on another axis. And in some sense, like you don't want to be too familiar because it's just like can't stand out. It's not unique, but you also don't want to be too novel, which is something that people don't always like intuit when they're because it's natural for somebody who means well and is innovating to be like, our thing is so different. It's nothing has ever been done like it, blah blah blah. And like it's sometimes counterintuitive that doesn't work that well. And you kind of have to hit this sweet spot of like, okay, it's kind of directionally like these other things, or directionally with this other momentum or narrative or whatever that's already happening. So there's kind of this like, there's this natural elevation around like you don't have to convince people on like the whole thing. They're already bought into like 70-80% of it, and you
Mm.
kind of just have to put your own twist of like, hey, but like are things kind of like those, kind of like this general bucket of things that you're familiar with, except here's what's unique about us. And then that people can kind of like concentrate a lot of that cognitive energy on just the unique thing, and like the narrative or the positioning or the momentum building in a certain direction kind of does a lot of the heavy lifting for you. So yeah, and unfortunately it's pretty nuanced, but I think you guys are actually in a really good really good spot. I mean, especially and in some level, you just, you know, kind of not working. And I think another useful thought experiment is not working top down with like what's the narrative, but rather just kind of what resonates at like a very just to yourself as just like a very or your target audience is a very like natural like emotional like level. So for example, if I'm thinking of myself as your guys target audience, or do think I fall into, um I you know, where does it appeal to me? Like, I don't want I'm not a trader. Like, I mean, I like play around with like we're building in crypto, so like I play around with stuff now, but like I'm not a trader. I don't think of myself that way. Like I don't care. I don't have time. And so for me, like there's definitely an appeal, like a real appeal to getting yield without as I think scientists use or I think you both kind of touched on this, not having to worry about like where the market like shifts to. It's like, oh wow, there's kind of this reliable thing that I know I can get a consistent yield on, a good yield, but a consistent yield that isn't like outlandish and too risky. And it's reliable, and like that's one thing that like peace of mind part of it appeals to me. And then there's also the what's it called, the automation piece of it. Like I might know, like maybe I don't even like know how I would change my, you know, DeFi strategies based on the market. But maybe I do know that, and then maybe the value prop shifts a little bit towards just like almost automation, and just, you know, making it as simple as possible, because I don't want to spend time on that. Like, I don't want to think about like, even though in conceptually, like, I know how to loop things and like and obviously evaluate different protocols and check kind of like I can kind of try to sift through like what's more like established, and in my mind have like a heuristic for what's less risky, but then there's also changing rates and all this shit. And so like I personally don't want to do any of that. I don't want to do any of it. And so why do I say this? Just as an example of like I think sometimes it's easy, it can be a cheat code. Like it's so it seems so it's one of those things that's like simple but not easy, where you're just like, okay, well, like from like a human bottom up level, how do you tap into just like an emotion around something? It's just like, fuck, I don't want to think about that, or like, damn it, I'm worried about this other thing. And I think that's another way to get some momentum around, and to build like a narrative. Again, I don't really like thinking about it that way in terms of narratives, and we try to avoid that. Um, but hopefully that helps. I know it was just a rant.
No, it's great. Thank you, Dino. You know what I've been thinking while you are talking about your sauce of like how to view narratives, how to judge, right? I think the answer or my answer to this question is already embedded in the live stream name. It's literally people product vision. So we are or I'm always trying to using my own judgment system or build a healthy judgment system, a useful judgment system for people, for product and for vision, right? That means like we're gonna decide quantitatively, like where we're gonna build this vision, where the product is going. We're gonna also judge very carefully, do all the due diligence, as well as like betting with people that we trust, that we believe have capability, have the integrity, and to join our network, join our alliance. And we're gonna bet on the product direction, the composability, as well as the features of like where we believe the future is going through. And I think like it's so important to have you here, Dino, because you are the representation, or you are one of our like closest partners on the people side. And as I told you during our like last in-person meeting, right? I'm so excited to be going forward to 2026 together with the whole Fluent team, and to build our alliance not only in DeFi but also in all those like distribution channel partners, right? Because at the end of the day, I think like my story, my vision, it matters because it leads the company, right? It directs of like how the entire Sprout team is going to shape, how we're gonna collaborate with each other. But what matters more, or what gonna actually have the network effect, is how our partners, like you guys, like our distribution channels, gonna talk about Sprout, gonna promote Sprout, right? how we all see the system work with each other and how we complement each other's products in the long run. And I guess like I just want to be this solid soil, or I just want to be this very stable ground where we are able to support all kinds of incentives, all kinds of discussions about Sprout, about our partners, and continuously to improve our trust, our relationship with our users over the long term. Because I believe that any kind of relationships or any kind of choices, you want to make sure your users are making it with their most no matter rational or emotional, but they have saw through it, they have used your product, and they decided to stay with you. And this is also changing. So all we can do is we continuously to hear the feedbacks and then to work with the partners and improve that perspective. Um, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like if yeah.
Yeah. So I agree. And actually, it's funny because you mentioned the name of this stream, and there's actually another word that comes to mind that's related to this, which is like the word conversation, right? And I think that that's actually another way to to kill a lot of birds with one stone, right? I mean, like if you can properly identify like what are the conversations relative to the problem that you're solving or like the product that you're building that like should be had but aren't being had, and you guys can kind of be like the steward of those conversations. I mean, that has it kind of inverts it from like what's the narrative, like a narrative or whatever, like that will form the attention and the narrative and whatever will form around like the conversations that really strike a chord with people. And like so I think that that's just you mentioned the title name, and that's actually the word that jumped out to me, where it's like, okay, well, you know what, if you guys are kind of like what you're doing right now, you guys are good, you guys have this muscle of like making things a conversation, whether it relates to, like you said, the people, product, the vision, but even as it relates to just like topics that that your product can connect to. Like I feel like, you know, the more you guys can like really think hard about like what should be talked about right now as institutions and as more people are starting to tap into crypto yields, that maybe people aren't talking about because they haven't, you know, thought about it, or maybe like kind of incumbent products have kind of an incentive to not talk about it. Like that kind of thing, getting those kind of important conversations going can just be like kind of a natural way, honestly, to build momentum and attention and I guess narrative like around you guys. That's just another thing that came to mind. I thought the word conversation was interesting because it's like it's honestly like at the core of I think some of the how some of the biggest like narrative quote like narratives have formed over time, right? Like even rewind way back to like the like Benioff, Salesforce, and SaaS, right? I mean, like what conversation sits at the core of that is just like, okay, like what does it mean? Like what does it mean to be like a software vendor? Like, I mean, obviously they came out with like a um very like jarring statement or meme, if you will, of just like no software. Like there's this no software movement, but obviously, like, what's the reason to do that? It's to spark a conversation around like, what the fuck? What do you mean no software? Like, what are you actually talking about? And then you can contrast like, oh, well, you don't have to download the software locally. You actually, there's another way of doing it. And so like, I definitely think like it all revolves around like what conversation. There's just so much gravity around like good conversations about things. So yeah, just another thing that came to mind as I was looking at the title of the stream.
Thank you, Dino. This actual echo with one of my tweets that I just sent out last night. I said like I love Twitter because first of all, it's a social media channel where I get to engage with all the people that I truly respect and look up to from different industries. Second, I treat it more never as like a decision making channel, or I never take any tweets as the final thoughts I want to be ingesting into my system, but rather it's more like a signal market. What it means is I use it to identify the problems, the people, and the early disagreements. And this 100% echoes what you just said, right? Who are talking about what problems? Who are those people? What are their incentives? Where are they standing? And which parties or which people are having disagreements? And what are the core problems that before they turn into a narrative, like people are already talking about it, right? By paying attention to that, like that makes you be able to tap into all those information earlier and potentially have an edge over other people. But also, as you said, like we as builders or entrepreneurs, we can actually initiate a lot of conversations. So I definitely gonna write this down, and then like going forward, like 2026, I want to take more a proactive approach where we as Sprout, all of the team members will be leading a lot of like conversations. And then I look forward to do this together with Fluent, because I know you guys are very good at creating like or talking about the things like people haven't talked about yet, and like putting attention on that.
Yeah, and I think you've been writing some articles. I think that's actually been like I think that's a really good way of doing it right now, especially as prices go sideways and people are less like distracted by all like the shiny things. Like people are more willing to sit down and read like a really good piece on like you've started to write, I think more recently, some good ones. So yeah, I think you guys are doing the right things.
Thank you, Dino. And then I know it has been like 80 minutes. Thank you guys for bearing with us. I have one last question for our younger interns as well. And then like maybe like after that we can conclude, everybody share. And now I'm giving you guys a preparation time, okay? So at the end of the live stream, I want everybody to share like a fun thing you or a new year resolution you want to do in 2026. So now it's the time for you to think, okay? But before that, I want to ask YY and Yuka, right? You guys as the younger generation, obviously you guys are younger than me. And then when you see a product like Sprout, like what do you think? Will you use it? Like what are your thoughts about money? Because there are so many people arguing on the timeline, say the next generation, the younger generation will always or will only like degenerate like gamble. What are your thoughts on that? Like what do you actually do? YY?
For me, I think it's always need to simplify all the steps. Like right now, it's a really fast paced world, so spending too much time on single things will make me feel like kind of distract personally. But I mean, on the other hand, doing research is definitely important, and that's require lots of time. But anyways, in terms of like product wise, I feel like simplify the steps and also shows the most obvious feature to the customer will be the best for me. And for example, right now, if I use like Robinhood, that's a really really simple interface, and I can navigate around like how I buy it. I just clicked it, and I feel like our app user interface right now is also has the same feature, which I really like it. And for my 2026 resolution, in professional wise, I want to level up my engineering skills. It's just moving from just finish the task or fixing bugs. I want also to be more scalable in coding, and also start thinking more about like system architecture, which require more research for me personally as well. And I really want to build the things that can last for longer. And for my personal level, 2026 will be a really busy year for me, like balancing the internship here and also running the blockchain lab at NYU. And I feel like to handle this is really to keep my morning routine as long as like morning workout, whether doing like jujitsu or CrossFit. And I feel like starting a day with like physical intensity that really helped me and also keep me focused and can shape my mentally sharp for the rest of the day. And I'm really looking forward for 2026.
Well, I was asking your relationship with money, your thoughts as the younger generation.
Oh,
Not
my
a lot of
young.
people.
Okay. In terms of money, I feel like getting money is harder and harder. Like the pay sometimes doesn't really satisfy the daily spending because of the inflations. So I feel like, and also right now most of people are promoting on the social media that they have such a luxury life. So I feel like most of younger generation are start comparing those kind of stuff with their own personal life. I feel like that's a little bit toxic, and it's really hard for people in the age of 20 to get like million or billions, but most of people are want to get it. But for me, I feel like my biggest reflect this year is start doing the things step by step, and then the money will come to you. Like you need to build it, and then you need to uh, do a good product. So for my personal relationship with money, I feel like I shifted from okay, I need to earn maybe a million before 30 to I need to build it step by step. Yeah.
You will get there. Bye
Thank you. Thank
okay.
you. That's
Just stay with Sprout.
Yeah.
Yuka.
Yes, like for me, I feel like for my generation, like we experienced a lot of like financial crisis before, but we don't actually experience it, but we have like those recognition of this unstable of the system. Um so we probably want to have like money. For me and my generation is not about like number, because we don't gonna die after, if we don't have money, because like we have money for like for just like basic living, but like money can make us like more, give us more flexibility and freedom to choose the life we want. So we don't want to make that. I don't want to make that much of money, but I want to have a choice to live the life I want. Um, Also, like for I feel like right like currently the world is filled with uncertainty, and we don't like we it is really unpredictable, and I just want to so we want to have a system that can manage our manage the risk for us, and like we don't have to like just use that like to watch the trade and observing the market 24/7, and we want to have more time to focus on our own life. Yeah, so for next year, I have a lot of big dreams, but I want to break them into the actions next year. So like doing the everyday jobs in Sprout, and doing the like making the blockchain labs flourish, like pitch more students to come in and more people to adopt to know the blockchain technologies, and get more adoptions in my generation. And yeah,
Thank
this
you,
is
Yuka.
my goal for 2026.
Okay. Scientists, what's your goal for 2026? Dino, I'm giving you more time to think, okay? Shad?
Yeah, I'm here. So for me, it's basically to be a better communicator, because I'm the kind of person that has a lot of ideas that I don't know how to communicate effectively. And I'm really sure Dino already knows this. I am terrible at communicating my ideas, and I don't think about them critically. So I want to be able to build up mental models and different to be able to see my ideas from different lenses and to understand them, the flaws, the strengths. So I guess for next year, I just want to be a better communicator, develop my critical thinking skills, because I feel like for the coming years with AI and all, I feel this will be a lot more important for people. So that's that. And Another thing is to learn more and read more books, read others' opinions, and try to get what's valuable and what's useful, and learn how other people think about life and all that. So I want to learn more from.
Thank you, scientist. You are the social media manager. You are the
Yeah,
community manager. So you naturally you are really good at communication. You're
so,
just like
can you hear
trying
me?
to improve your 1%. Yes?
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry,
teed me up.
my
He teed me
my
up
internet.
for something. Oh, sorry, man. I was just gonna say I don't think you're a bad communicator. He teed me up to say that I already know this, but I think you're quite good, man.
Oh yeah, thanks. But yeah, sorry, my internet got cut off for a while there, so that's why I paused. So
It's fine.
and
I to be honest, like scientists, you are probably one of the most considerate social media communicator here among this group. Because I feel like me and Dino sometimes we were getting to our own thinking process and we were just like continue to say da 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 for 10 minutes. But you actually like you will read and you will look for what people are talking about, what is the most recent trend. So yeah, don't like undermine your own thinking and your contribution and your talent.
thanks, yeah, thanks. Means a lot. Yeah, I guess that's because I've been working really hard on them and just trying to get better. And yeah, so another thing I'm trying to do next year is to ship something, because uh, I've been I've been working with a lot of people on a lot of things and just trying to build something. So next year, I just really, really hope I get to build something and just build a one of my product ideas and get it out there. And I think the reason I've been like not really consistent with them is I've been doubting it. I've been thinking, oh, will this work? With this will the current narrative favor this idea? Will people like accept it, or will people use it and all that? So I guess I for next year I won't really think about what people will think. So I guess I'll just try to ship it and put it out there. And I also need to gamble less, so I not trade frequently and not just dip into like different narratives and different coins. And so next year I definitely work on my investing skills, because for this year is I lost a lot of money, and so next year I'll try to be more like open my eyes and trying to jump in like with my eyes open and understand why I'm buying this, why I'm not buying this, and all that. So next year, that's what I'm trying to do. And I know all of that will be very hard because I'll be writing my first and second professional exams in school next year. So there's going to be, I will definitely take a lot of breaks from CT and the internet and all that next year to focus on exams and also. But I know I'll figure it out and I'll definitely make it work.
You should write more Sprout articles so that you don't aping into different coins. Oh, okay. Okay, Dino, you want to go next?
Yeah. So this is forward looking for 2026, right?
Yes.
I am going to focus a bit more on health, frankly. Like I think that there's one thing that I traded off a lot over the past year or so, which to some degree you gotta like there's always trade-offs, and unfortunately that's a hard one to admit that you're actively doing, but I'm going to try to improve on it going forward, get some more time to exercise and sprinkle that into the day, and also sleep. Now I got this nice little Aura ring. I had it for about a month now, and it works really well, and so now it tells me like all the ways I suck at getting a good night's sleep, and so it's that's a helpful start to actually get a good night's sleep. So that's my thing. Obviously, all the fluent and and self-improvement stuff as well. But I think that's where I've like traded off the most over the past year, unfortunately.
Okay. I hope you're doing well, and let me know if you need a trainer. I can just like
I
train.
I don't know. I'm looking at that cast. You might push me a little bit too hard.
Okay. Okay, it's my turn. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to think, but I think first of all, house is really important. So next year, I I think I will get. I mean, I think this year is already been. It has already been a good year. It is also because like I've been so super busy, so I don't have a lot of time hanging out with my friends. So that's why like my alcohol ingestion has been significantly lowered, and I hope like next year will be even better. Second most important thing, I think also thankful to. I don't want to say thankful, but it's because I have to put on the cast on my left arm, which I am a lefty, and naturally, like I use a lot of my left arm. And when you use your left arm, your brain of the intuition for expressing those or for artistic, that part has been activated. But the right arm is actually like controlling your strategic thinking, structure forming, and thank God that I have been like using so much of a right hand that like I was able to activate a different part of my brain. So going forward, like 2026, I will continue to use a lot of my right arm. And most importantly, is like I find that this kind of high level strategic thinking and systematic building is so important for company, for Sprout, as well as for me positioning myself in this world, as well as like building my relationship around all the people around me, no matter they are like rooting for me or they are like competing against me. But it's all like defining who I am right now, as well as who I try to be in the future. And I find this such a useful exercise. And I will continue to do this, as well as encouraging all the people around me to do that. Another thing, I think, third thing, which is the last thing I want to focus on, is I guess like relationships. What I meant is that I think for a really long time, builders or very hardworking people, we sacrifice our personal life, our time with our family, loved ones, with friends for a while, right? But I realized like how stupid. Okay, I don't want to say stupid, but I realized that like we are making a trade off that we don't. At least with the younger version of myself didn't know like how much it's gonna cost. And there are like so many different things happening, I guess, like during the last 2 months that make me realize actually you need certain kind of like work life balance in your life. If I really talk about this concept philosophically, right? Everything that happened in the past is already past. It's part of the memory. And everything gonna happen in the future, you don't know yet. So the only thing real is the current moment. And the only thing we can do, I guess like the most rational or emotional choice we do is like try to do everything at your best shot, focusing on the very, very small or tiny moments at the current moment so that in the future, you tried your best. And I don't only want to try my best for Sprout, but I want to try my best for my family, for my loved ones, and for my partners, for my allies, for my friends, right? Everything. I want to make sure like I don't make decisions that I may regret forever. Because I feel like that's a very, very terrible choice. Or that's a very, very terrible feeling that it's irrecoverable. And in terms of those irrecoverable moments or decisions, I'm super, super cautious because I feel like you can always enjoy a lot of upside on your life. But truly matter what marks the most important thing is like how do you not ruin your life in the long run? Like which is contain the risk or cap the downside. So while you're saying you want to focus on your physical health, I would say it's also like mental health. And I have been dedicating my time as well as trying to, reach out to my friends more, my family more, talk to them, be supportive, also expressing my feelings more openly because I think this will be supporting me and this will serve such a strong energy to push me forward, not only in the professional but also in the personal space so much. And I hope like so anyone, my friends, my partners, if you're feeling down, if you're not feeling okay, reach out to me. Talk to me. I will be the best listener you could ever have. And I promise you, I wouldn't give you any suggestion unless you ask me. With that being said, I think thank you guys so much for joining the live stream today. And I hope you guys gonna have a very, very happy new year. I know not a lot of people are working. It's okay. If you don't want to work, if you want to take a rest, rest now. Because you deserve the rest. You have already been busy for the full year. Don't feel guilty. Don't feel bad. It's okay to rest right now because you want to work harder at a later moment. But no matter what, I wish everybody a very, very flourish new year. Hope you get to understand yourself better, be yourself better in 2026. And we stay connected. We stay financially responsible, calm, and strategic about all our decisions in our life. And I will see you guys very, very soon because I have 2 more live streams coming this week. Any final notes? Okay.
No, just thanks for having me on as an extension to Sprout fam, and yeah, everyone have a happy new year.
Bye,
Bye, guys.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thanks,
bye,
guys.
guys.
Happy New Year.